The what? I hold here in my formerly nicotine-stained fingers a copy of the Bacanora Notebooks by Mather Schneider. This is his newest book. It's a story of a cabbie named Matt, a McDonald's worker named Josie. However, Josie ain't a real name. Josie is in the USA illegally working at a McDonald's. And that's in fact how our cabbie Matt meets her. He stops by there every 5 o'clock in the morning as he starts his morning shift in his cab. Finally gets the nerve to ask her out. That's when she confesses, Josie's my fake name. My name's Natalia. If you're headed to a dictionary right now to look up Bacanora, don't do it. It ain't there. Bacanora is a liquor named after the region in Mexico where it's produced. And up until 1992, it was illegal. You could only get it from Mexico's finest bootleggers until then. Bad whiskey. On one of their cross-border trips, they bring back home to their Tucson apartment a bottle of Bacanora. And Natalia tells Matt, or Mateo as she likes to call him, that's some pretty strong stuff there. They say it can even make you hallucinate. We probably shouldn't drink too much of it. Anyway, they're getting ready to fix dinner and they start nipping at the bottle. A few hours later, they wake up on the floor of their apartment in flames. The apartment's burning down. They do make it out. And spoiler alert, cover your ears, they lost their security deposit. This is a fast-paced novel. 225 pages, 90 chapters. Author Mather Schneider moves us from one event to the next without a bunch of description of flora, fauna, sun, moon, on with that. On July 4th in Tucson, fireworks are going off and a dog ends up in the backyard of Mateo and Natalia's apartment. And they don't want a stray dog, at least Matt doesn't. Natalia fixes them scrambled eggs for him. Matt just wants the dog to go away because the dog is laying on their moringa tree seeds. Natalia's uncle had given them some moringa tree seeds. It produces a tea that cures everything from baldness to cancer. Anyway, the dog won't leave. 2, maybe 3 days later, the dog finally gets up and leaves. Natalia is a Mexican Indian beauty. She's just drop dead gorgeous. And our cabbie, Mateo, is very proud to have her as a girlfriend. As a matter of fact, what he says is she makes him feel like Arturo Bandini. Now, you're sitting there right now going, who the hell's Arturo Bandini? Never heard of him. He is the main character in a 1936 novel by John Fonte called Ask the Dust. And it's a very similar story to this, a hopeless love story. And that's also, it was adapted into a 2006 movie for those of you who'd rather watch a movie than read a book. They try to get Natalia's citizenship. You can't keep hiding out in McDonald's. You're eventually going to get caught. They get down to, make it down to the immigration office, put in the paperwork, and then oddly, the immigration officer asks Natalia to step outside the windowless cinder block office, and he addresses Matt directly. Here's what he says. He says to me, you don't want to do this. I have seen this 1,000 times. She doesn't love you. She will leave you and take you for everything you've got, and you will be humiliated. Trust me on this. What are our chances, I ask? Well, she lied. You both lied. In the eyes of the law, you are liars and criminals. This is a moral issue. It will have to be processed. Our cabbie Matt fantasizes about ripping his head off. I'll take my chances, he says. As you can probably guess, they give Natalia the boot. Both of them move in with Natalia's family down in Hermosillo, Mexico. Matt doesn't speak the language very well, but he gets used to the lawlessness, the Catholicism, the culture of Mexico. Water in Hermosillo goes out all the time, and their bathroom starts stinking like an outhouse. He takes it all in stride. At one point, Natalia's uncle gets killed in a robbery, broke into his home and killed him. They go to Uncle Raul's funeral. This is a very poignant scene in the book. Natalia stood very close to the burial, and I stood back. It was late afternoon, and the sun burned the side of my face. It was then that I had the strangest thought. I thought of the dog that showed up on our patio, its sad, lost eyes, and I thought that maybe there was a connection between that dog and poor dead Uncle Raul. I imagined the fear he must have felt when they broke into his house and came for him, the horror of being beaten on the head and left to die, knowing no one would come to help him, knowing there was no escape. Why had he been isolated from his family? Why had we not visited him or thought of him in all those months while his moringa seeds sat in the jar in our cupboard? I imagined him lying on his floor, feeling his life slipping away, his soul traveling up and away and through the dark night and all the way to us there in Tucson, to appear to us in the form of that dog with his eyes that looked so human, asking for help. Or maybe he just wanted to say goodbye. We were afraid to touch him and fed him scrambled eggs, and I wished he would just go away, and then he did. Now, while Natalia is a beautiful Mexican Indian woman, our cabbie, Mateo, is a hapless dolt. Once they're coming back to their Tucson apartment from a trip into Mexico, and they're stuck in the line in their minivan, coming back, waiting to cross, and Matt has one of his attacks of diarrhea. He jumps into the back of the minivan, finds a Tupperware bowl, and takes his dump. Just so happens that immigration officers at the border crossing pulled him over to the immigration checkpoint, want to check them before they let him in. Yeah, the border guard found the bowl of diarrhea. He waved him through, just get out here, go. So if you're smuggling something from Mexico to USA, there's your trick to go through. Let's put a big bowl of diarrhea on the floor where they'll see it and just wave you right on in. Also, while he's in Hermosillo, he goes for a walk. A pack of stray dogs starts following him. They start to attack him. About the time he thinks he's going to die, up comes a two-legged dog limping in, hopping in, and runs off with a pack of stray dogs. So I don't classify this book, Bacanora Notebooks, as a love story, even though it's a unique one. I classify it as a working class story. This is the working class stories you get in novels from most people. They're written by academics, wealthy scions, so on. And you get this perverted, false image of what it is to be poor working class. We want dignity. We just want to organize our labor. No, I don't. We just want to get from one day to the next. And now our cabbie, he's also a writer. Something you don't really see much in the working class. So as a little bit of a surprise, our cabbie's a writer. Maybe not a surprise because this is a first-person story. And here's what our cabbie thinks of the leading poets. There's a unique perspective. What does the working class think of the poets? It's a crow on their behalf. Here's what Mateo thinks of them. I made the mistake of reading a few poems on the internet by some of our leading poets. Leading where? The Valley of Shit? I'd rather put a live flame in my mouth than read this. Everybody's got their heart broke. Everybody's got a better idea. Everybody's got the same idea. Everybody's fixing the world. I never want to write or read another poem as long as I live. Ooh, look, a line break. I see what you did there. Thought hard and long on that line break. Up all night. Tortured soul. Stanza break. Ta-da! You're a word sorcerer. You're an empath. It's a curse. You're a devourer of books, voracious. I read your interview. It's all there. I checked out your blog. You've got some links. You've been nominated twice. You've got the insomnia. You write every day, almost every day. That's what writers do. You scribble. You let the mind go. The muse speaks through you. You can't take credit. Sometimes when you're not writing, which is rare, you like to sketch. Sketching is good for the soul. Favorite author? 2 Minute of Maine. You've been reading since you were 6 months old. Craft is the creed. Craft is the Godhead. Craft is the pig's nibbles. Oh, yes, poetry readings are the key. You've got to get out there. Connect with your people. And mindfulness. Mindfulness is also key. Lots of keys. Advice? Find your voice, write every day, make a schedule. Very important, matter of life and death. If you couldn't write, you would die, period. Flat out, that's simple. Fall straight down dead. Poetry is your breath. You've got the social anxiety. Nobody understands the severity of your social anxiety. Debilitating. You fight through it. What choice do you have? The people need you. You contain multitudes. He finishes with a poem of his own here. More Bacanora, por favor. Bacanora, airplane gas of gods, a drink for the real man. The Bacanora notebooks. The meat of this book is when Mateo and Natalia, after her application was denied, moved to Hermosillo, Mexico, watching this American gringo make his day-to-day life down there. Do we give interviewers or reviewers today supposed to rate their books, right? So let's give this one a 5 out of 5, I say. Definitely worth checking out.